Okay, clear night portrait, 4 notches down because the sun's out. Hard to tell, fellas. I sort of got woken up this morning with what I thought was banging on the door knocker very loudly. Whether someone had... I know it's hard to tell, fellas. I mean, the odd, 3 or 4 spots from a bird I'm used to. Happens quite regularly, but this much. And whether whoever was banging on the door was either saw someone doing it, or maybe that's what they do. They bang on the door, and if you don't answer, that's when they do it, because they don't think you're home or you're too fast asleep. Unless, of course, the birds are just trying to fertilise me sleepy weeds. I don't know, but don't know, fellas. Either that or it bodes well for soiled bacon. Yeah. Anyway. Brett Faulkner sort of opened my eyes, cleared out a few cobwebs. It's like looking in the mirror, I think, saying, yeah, sort of looking in the mirror and saying, "You thickhead!" Because as you say, like with glandular litter, it's about the size of a 50-cent piece, or it can get a little bit bigger. Then you go all the way down here, like you've got pygmea, is like a 10-cent piece sort of size, sort of thing. We did this sort of thing with John Bignana all those years ago, trying to do soil spaces for pygmies and working out what was the average size, and 10 cents is like what you get for like a pygmy sort of thing. And of course, then 5 cents is for your occidentalis, but then Drossum Cara, the average size is half your little fingernail, which is about a quarter of a 1 cent piece, isn't it? There's my little fingernail. The average size of Drossum Cara is half my little fingernail. That's what I'm saying. It's half my little fingernail. So half my little fingernail, it's like half a 1 cent piece. It's sort of, it's really small. As I said, it took me almost like 2 years to filming, thinking these are hard to photograph, and until suddenly I realised, yes, that's your pygmea, that's your occidentalis. Well, if you've got something that's half the size, if not less than that, then you're probably talking about something new. It's either a very distant hybrid, or it's something. It seems to be going in 2 directions. In the rosette seems to be going like down the occidentalis, and the inflorescence seems like heading in some sort of pygmea thing with slight variations, of course, in the flower structure. And whether they're trying to get the prey in one direction and insect pollinators in the other, whether they're trying to pull the insect pollinators off the pygmeas and use them, I don't know. But anyway, I've tried putting some of these things out close to where the sun is, sort of thing. I also found that you can actually, you can actually tilt them sideways. If you put 2 of them together, you can actually, I'll show you. You can actually put them like that, so they're both on an angle, sort of thing, which is quite amazing to do I thought on a lawn, but it's quite easy to do. So the water pulls that way and pulls that way. But in future, I think I'll just put the material in the pots in a more like a very long pyramid sort of shape, so the water pulls along the sides and down on either side like that. And yeah. Anyway, I mean, lots of hits and misses. Getting somewhere with the soiled bacon in general, sort of thing. Sort of looking in the back end of it, sort of thing. Like we're getting greening up in there, we're getting greening up in here, which is very strange, and over there, sort of thing. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, a bit of greening up in there now, but we've got plenty of greening up over in this one over here. So I might sprinkle some seeds on that. And look at that. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Still, that one over there is the best. The one with the I've got the macro focus button on, so it does it quite well now. I think we've solved the problem. But all this, I just keep thinking back to the days of the 70s when we used to see fat roots on the capensis the size of a pencil. I'm thinking, well, roots go into soil, so they're going to be most affected by what they go into. And I'm just wondering whether it was something like, the German peat we used to originally get, that was real peat, but because it came from Germany, it was such a long way to bring it over to Australia. Whether, they started mixing things like that off with coir, and they got away with it, and they started mixing more coir off with these things like that, until eventually they started mixing so much coir in that they had to have a backstory, you know, because if you've got these big mountains of coir, you know, how are you going to explain that? The big mountains of coir at one end of the factory, and you've got bales of peat going out the other. Someone's going to trigger eventually, you know, what's going on. I still like this one over here. Look at that, best CP weed ever, eh? Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how we go. But you know, it's things like that. You know, liverwort's growing with the CPs, you know the liverwort's got to have cyanified, and then how come the cyanified grows best on the ones with the copper in it? Doesn't make sense. Copper's a bit like calcium. Again, I got my friend over in Russia saying, you do know liverwort's growing on limestone and blah blah blah, and I think it's, as I said, I think it's all a load of bollocks. So, you know, it's like this seaweed stuff, you know, do you see big mountains of kelp sitting outside some factory somewhere? I don't think you do. And maybe it's a case of, oh, we used to do that back in the 50s, but, you know, we've been making it up from common components ever since, and we just throw in a bit of salt in there just so we can call it seaweed or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, we make it from weeds, and we add a bit of salt so we can call it seaweed, you know, sort of thing. I don't know, some sort of, you know, crappy sort of answer like that. But yeah, I think it's just a load of bollocks really sometimes. But considering what's happened with the car, you know, I looked at it and I thought, well, you know, there's stuff. I got the ladder out, looked on the fence, and I thought, no, it's just in that area. It's sort of like, you know, if it was all along the fence where the birds are sitting, I say, well, maybe it's the birds. But the fact it's too localised. And yeah, so we'll see how we go. But well, considering that, I'm holding out high hopes for this. But I think I've buggered some of these because I think they're just too wet. These ones down here, I just think they are too wet. See that? You know, we got a little bit of surface area there, but then our New Zealand friend, Ross Graham, he says they like them wet. So, which is news to me. I thought they would have rotted, but anyway. So, I don't know, as I said, I went back scratching my head. I thought it was like either Tuesday to Friday or Friday to Tuesday with those indica seeds. That's the fastest germination I ever had. So, I have mentioned in the past when my memory was a little bit better. So, it's all locked on spoken word cassettes from years ago. Whether it was I put the seeds in on a Tuesday from the British Society and they germinate on the Friday, or I put them on the Friday, they germinate on the Tuesday, one or the other. But it's locked in spoken word cassettes from 20, 30 years ago sort of thing, you know. So, yeah, trapped on there in better detail because, you know, I was making those tapes almost like, you know, in the same year of when these things are happening and things like that. But I'll just set up some more over the weekend into the new week. But, you know, so far, no signs of anything. Moss is still alive, I believe. Is it this one that's got the moss? Or no, some of these other ones have got moss in them. We can see the moss. Can we see the moss? Yeah, the moss is still alive in that one. Seems to be alive in this one as well, so, which is strange. You know,